Hi, I'm Dr. Laura Chamberlain. I'm from Clean Count, Cook County. That's cleancountcookcounty.org. I'm here with Claire Tobin, and we're going to be talking about becoming a citizen auditor in Chicago and suburban Cook County.
Hi, I'm Claire Tobin with Illinois Ballot Integrity Project. That is ballot-integrity.org, and also Clean Count, Cook County.
So Claire, why is it important to become a citizen election auditor?
Okay, well, the 5% audit is the only opportunity that citizens have in order to check the accuracy of the election results. They take 5% of the early voting machines, usually around 38 machines, and 5% of the election day precincts, both the ballot scanners, the paper ballots, and also the electronic machines. And usually that accounts for about 120 different precincts.
And can citizens actually take a tally of the actual votes during the post-election audits?
Absolutely. You can sit down at the table and watch as the election clerks count the ballots and compare the central tabulating results with the manual results. So you can keep your own separate tally when they're doing that.
And there's a lot of problems with our tallies, aren't there? There's a lot of places where things could go wrong between the electronic voting machines, the scanners, the transmission of the votes to the central tabulator on election night, the central tabulator. There's a lot of places where mistakes can occur. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Many of the audits that we have supervised, they were not able to reconcile the results in many of the positions on the ballot. So that is really a problem. All they do is just report that there were a discrepancy to the Illinois State Board of Elections after the results have been certified. So that's it.
So it's pretty vital for citizens to get involved in this post-election audit. And we have seen some real changes in the processes by pointing out some of the problems during the audit, haven't we?
Yes, we have. We have presented testimony before the Chicago Board of Elections at their bi-weekly meetings, and they have instituted some changes as a result of our participation.
It's excellent. So can any citizen be involved? Or first of all, I think you have to be an Illinois registered voter, don't you?
Yes, that's it. You can be a registered voter anywhere in Illinois and participate in the audits.
And Illinois Ballot Integrity Project and Clean Count, Cook County, we cooperate to cover the Chicago audits and the suburban Cook County audits. And can you tell us a little bit about the difference between the two?
Well, the main difference is that the Chicago audit usually takes place about 10 days after Election Day, and it occurs on Pershing and Damon on the south side. And the Cook County audit takes place usually about 7 days after the election, and that happens in their warehouse, which is in Cicero and Pershing, is it? No.
They have just recently moved, but it's definitely on the border of Cicero and Chicago.
Okay.
So a citizen who's interested in going into either the Chicago or the suburban Cook County audits, they can sign up at cleancountcookcounty.org, cleancountcookcounty.org, and they should get an email closer to the audits, approximately 2 weeks, around the time of the election. And it'll allow them to pick a specific day that they can participate and a specific location, either in Chicago or suburban Cook County. Now, the citizens should be willing to volunteer for an entire day, shouldn't they? Why is that important?
Well, yes, you really need to be there for the whole day. And usually in Chicago, the day begins, you need to be there by 8:30 in the morning, and usually it goes on until about 5. In suburban Cook County, they start earlier. They may start at 7 o'clock in the morning and go until 3 or 4.
Although we have a promise from the election division head that he's going to start a little bit later the next time. But we haven't negotiated the exact time. I'm hoping that we would start about the same time, 8:45. So when we get there, in the next audit in suburban Cook County will be after the April 2nd elections. So I have a little time to negotiate the starting times of these post-election audits. So now, and a citizen election monitor should be able to volunteer for an entire day. They need to bring some things with them to the audit, don't they? And they need to have credentials to get into the audit. We provide them some credentials. Is that correct?
Yeah, we are able to get credentials for the post-election 5% audit. And so all the volunteer needs to do is to bring a photo ID with them.
And also a pad of paper and some pencils, right?
And maybe some lunch, or there are places to eat close by, because there's about maybe an hour and a half lunch break in the middle of the day.
That's exactly right. So there's 2 15-minute breaks and a lunch break. It's probably fairly important to bring at least something to nibble on, because then you can, take a little bit of a bite of something at the breaks, and also water, right? Mm-hmm. Should bring some water to drink. And there's a separate place in both of those warehouses, the Chicago and the suburban Cook County. They allow us to put our coats and our backpacks in a secure location. Mm-hmm. So you can bring a lunch, you can bring water, you can leave your phone out there in your backpack and just turn it off. And you can, once you've left the election area, the main election area, you can go outside and make phone calls and break and things like that.
Yeah, the only thing to remember is that it is a secure area, and so whenever you need to go to the bathroom or to leave, you have to be accompanied by one of their security guards.
That's exactly right. So, is it hard to be a citizen auditor? Is it difficult?
No, it's not really hard. But, you do have to try to figure out what you're doing. But it doesn't take long to kind of catch on and know. And usually they're very helpful and cooperative. So it's a good experience. So
for the paper ballots, they're often putting the paper ballots through another optical scan, and they put them through rather fast. So sometimes we're able to actually do a tally of one race if we're really, really fast. But most of the time, we're not really able to catch a full tally of the paper ballots that are being fed through the machines. Is that correct?
Well, yes. Usually in Chicago, they're not really willing to slow down so that we can take a separate tally. But Cook County, they have been more helpful in terms of doing it more slowly. So that's really, really nice to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And then on the electronic machines in Chicago, they have these, especially the early voting machines, they have these large rolls of tapes where there's printed the ballots that people voted on election day and during early voting. And they unroll those and they actually call out the choices of the voters as they go along. Isn't that correct?
Yes. So for the electronic early voting machines, which are very important, you can really get a good tally there because it's read out more slowly, and you can do your own independent tally. And then you can compare what they say the central tabulator has reported for that and what the manual count is. So excellent. That's where we have been able to observe any discrepancies.
And can you sit while you're doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. They have decided that they will allow everybody to sit. So that really makes it much easier.
Much more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a little bit dusty in the warehouses, isn't it? So if somebody has, kind of severe respiratory problems, it might be a little bit of too much dust for them. Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, maybe you could bring a mask or something, but I haven't really found it a problem, but some people found it too dusty.
A couple times when I've been to the audits for in Chicago, sometimes they'll last for 11 days. Sometimes by the end of that 11th day, I can feel like I have breathed, too much dust has gone down the old windpipes. But it's not too bad. I think it's only for people with really severe respiratory problems that they might have a problem. And there is an elevator to get in. So if you're handicapped, you can participate.
Sure, yeah, that's easy.
So how do people get involved?
Well, you send us an email and let us know which days that you are available, and maybe can try to put people together with carpools because public transportation might not be as convenient. So, it's nice to go with other people too when you're on this kind of a...
So to contact us, they go to cleancountcookcounty.org, cleancountcookcounty.org, and they they click the Join Us button, they fill in the information, and then closer to the time of the audits, approximately around the time of the election, so it'll be 1 or 2 weeks before the audits, they'll get an email and it'll allow them to choose which day they want to participate and which city they want to participate, Chicago or suburban Cook County, and it'll give them a lot more information. Is that correct?
Correct, yes. And we'll take care of getting the credentials for everybody who signs up.
Absolutely. And on the day that they sign up, that they volunteer, they're to bring their ID, photo ID, correct? Mm-hmm. And they can bring a pad of paper, some pens, pencils, some water, some lunch, some snacks, some coffee, even in a thermos, mm-hmm. and maybe some comfortable shoes.
That's a good idea too.
Comfortable shoes, and then we'll get them in with meet us on time, mm-hmm. right? They got to meet us on time, and all that will be in the email, and the address will be in the email, and then they can get the credentials and come in, and they do have to adhere to a couple rules, right? They can't touch any of the election material. So if the election judges have gone off for a bathroom break, they can't go over there and start unrolling the tape, right, with all of the ballots.
You can ask to see everything, but you can't touch everything. Just similar to election day, you can see everything, but you cannot touch anything.
That's exactly right.
And we will also have our own tally sheets for races that we think are important to watch.
So they should bring a clipboard.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
They should bring a clipboard and maybe a pad of paper and some pens. And then they also probably have to leave their cell phones back at in the room where our clothes and our bags are.
Well, actually, I usually carry mine in my purse. You can bring in a small purse, but just have it switched off.
Switched off, right?
Or on silent.
So you don't want to be making calls
during... No.
Because it is tedious work, right? The election judges that are reading off these big rolls of ballots, and they're, trying to tally these votes. It's tedious, so you don't want to really distract them.
Right. Well, they have to have rules and regulations so that everything is easier for them to concentrate on.
Right, mm-hmm. Right. But it's a pretty relaxed environment, don't you think?
Yeah, no, the workers are really very friendly. So that's
Workers
nice.
are very friendly. Okay, so what's the number one reason why citizens should help us with the post-election audits?
Because the 5% audit of our elections is the only time when citizens have an opportunity to check that the central tabulator and the individual precinct counts or early voting machine counts match up. And that's really, really important. The only other time is when a candidate can request a discovery recount of a certain number of the precincts after the election. But other than that, this is it.
I agree. So trust but verify.
Absolutely. I think was it Reagan said that?
Yes, it was. Other people have repeated it. I'm not one to quote Reagan, but anyways, in this particular case, he was saying something accurate. Well, thank you, Claire, for joining us. And I'm Dr. Laura Chamberlain with CleanCountCookCounty.org.
And I'm Claire Tobin with IllinoisBallotIntegrity.org.
Thank you.